This week on Planet Internet, my name is Linh Dao Smooke, and I'm bringing all the parents together and Amy to chat Teen Angst versus Supreme Court, the Snapchat rant case from a teen that riled up all the Karens in the highest court of the land. Yes, I wrote that. The struggle is real for students and their parents because of the pandemic. We're gonna chat the pandemic of childcare, my story on HackerNoon, and the Markdown story, already struggling with school, the pandemic made it worse. And we have our awesome de facto VP of Engineering, Richard, here to chat and hype up our new Markdown editor just launched on HackerNoon.com. All right, let's dive in.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome. I'm hosting again. I'm feeling a little bit anxious because last time I sounded totally like a mom, but then again, I am a mom. So if you see my intonation raising and falling, that's because I do that on a regular basis. But I have a parent with me today, so I feel a little bit less lonely in my parenting voice. So welcome, Richard, and welcome, Amy.
First, before we start, can I ask, how old are your kids?
Oh, Richard goes first.
Okay, so I have a son, Jonathan. He's 4. He'll be 5 at the end of July, 29th. And my daughter, Alyssa, is 8 years old.
Oh, okay. 8 and 5, almost 5.
Basically 5, yep.
Okay.
Yep, and Nora, my daughter, is 4 and 1/4. The 1/4 is really important. Every single quarter, she added the quarter to her age, and she's very proud of the fact that she's 4 and 1/4, not just 4.
Oh, that's so
Not just
extra.
half. That's pretty granular too. Yeah, down to quarters and not just like 3.5, 4.5. Impressive.
Yeah. Okay.
I think like drilling little math thing in kids early on is important. Like, whenever we give her little pieces of blueberries, for example, we'd say, do you want 3 blueberries or do you want 4 blueberries? And she's like, no, I want like 1 less than that. Oh, that's 2 blueberries. Perfect. So we do little things like that.
Small talk. Math, small talk.
To kind of like familiarize her with, like, math is not scary, right? Like, it's just the everyday thing that you do, and it's helpful.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm trying to think of examples where I do that too. But yeah, I basically talk to my kids like they're adults anyway. So I just kind of let them kind of grow up to speed. I'll just stop myself and be like, do you know what that word means even? But we just kind of roll with it.
No, it's just more fun that way, I feel like. Because, like it's exhausting to treat them as though they don't understand anything. Like if you treat them like mini adults that mostly can get what you talk about, then you can talk about things and you don't have to like tiptoes around them, and then like over time you get what you're saying. But yeah, enough rambling about the stories. That's not the stories that we're going to chat about. Let's chat about, let's see, the Supreme Court case. So I'm going to give it 30 seconds. And Alex, you can cut this out because you don't need to know that this is a 30-second thing. But recently, the Supreme Court of the United States, let me share the screen and redo that. Post disabled participants.
I was just going to say, wait, let me let you. Okay, now it's ready.
On to today's story. Let me start sharing screen. So the Supreme Court lately, and I love this case, has sided with this angry teen over, and I quote, the speech case over Snapchat outbursts. So there's this teenager, her name is, Brandy Levy, and she tried to audition for a varsity cheerleading spot, and then she did not get it. The next thing she did, she went on her personal Snapchat and she did a lot of profanity rant. And I quote, F school, F softball, F cheer, F everything, she wrote, which promptly resulted in her being suspended from the cheerleading program. Now, this case, if you can believe it, actually got elevated all the way to the Supreme Court and got all the 9 justices very, very riled up about what it means for free speech. So yeah, with that said, Amy, what do you think about the case? What's your hot
This is
take?
crazy. Can you imagine like being a teen and putting F cheer on your Snapchat and then all of a sudden you're in the Supreme Court? Like, what? I don't really
Right.
understand. Like, okay, I think that as a teen, you should, as a person, you should be able to say what you want to say on your own personal social media and not have it being dictated. But on the other hand, like just to play devil's advocate to my own opinion even, I can see like another side of this story where like, you know, if you're an employee and you go on like a crazy rant about like something that the company doesn't value, like, you know, people get fired over that kind of stuff. So I guess why can't a teen get punished over something they said on social media in the same way that an employee could for a job? But yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine being able to discipline a student based on something that they said on social media in their own personal time.
So being the legal nerd that I am, even though I have no background whatsoever, I actually read through the case and I read through like the opposing opinion, and there's only one dissenting, excuse me, that's what they call, from Justice Clarence Thomas. And what he said was that in the age of social media, there's like very vague distinction between what is on campus and off campus. You know, like before the internet, it is clear that like if you in the geography and in the perimeter of the campus, then everything could be under and subject to the school rule. But then like now in social media, like the thing that you posted even in your own time and in your personal Snapchat can quickly spill over to what you do on campus in a matter of seconds. So he the one dissenting justice, just thought that it's very unclear and vague for the lower court to like take up this overarching free speech is best when it comes to like, you know, the rule of the internet, because even with the free speech and with the First Amendment, we do have certain things that we have to abide by. Like you cannot have like hate speech or target specific race or target specific gender or sexual orientation. So yeah, I'm not like siding with him, but like I did read through the thing and I'm like thinking to myself, that's interesting. Like how do you actually allow for free speech while also moderating the internet?
And
So
from a parent angle here, what are your thoughts on the fact that it's a teen and like access to social media and being like allowing someone who is not of legal age to have free speech on social media? Because when I was younger, like I really just didn't have access to this kind of stuff, and I think probably similar for you. Or I did, but I just didn't really heavily use it that much. So I don't know, like, would you let your child have free speech of like saying anything that they wanted to say as they become teens and have access to social media?
Well, I have my opinion on this, but Richard, you have like older kids. What do you think? What's your approach to this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a point in restricting what they're saying so much, as long as you're not like impeding on other people's rights, right? Yeah, you're not like it's no hate speech or anything. You do want to let people speak freely and get their ideas out, right? I can't imagine. I mean, yeah, they're still a minor, but they're on their way to becoming adults. They're forming their opinions, so let them suss that out now. This is the time to do it. So yeah, I wouldn't want to suppress anybody for any reason. I can't imagine. It just seems like some sort of like optics thing where it's like you want to look like a good parent with a well-behaved kid or something. It doesn't make sense to limit them.
I mean, what I've always channeled as a mom is like I try my best to like model the kind of behavior that I want my kids to do, or my kid to do, but like I can't really restrict them even at age or at this case she's like 16 or something. I mean, once you're over 13 years old, like you basically kind of your own person, like you can't really control what they're doing or yet their thoughts. Like, I mean,
Not to that micro level anyways, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. So, I think Richard would agree to like the parenting approach that I feel most natural is like you try your best to model and you try your best to kind of like explain and like have them understand like certain things are off limit and certain things are okay for them to do. But you like when it comes to their actual behavior, you can't.
Yeah, you just want to like let them know what are the drawbacks to behaving this way in public. You know, how will this negatively impact? And there's nothing really right or wrong about it. It's just you have to be aware of why these things aren't socially acceptable or whatnot, and just come to terms with it and make up your own mind about whether it's worth doing that anyways, regardless, because you believe it's right. So.
But like she actually did win the thing. Like, so I wonder what that family like dinner table was like. Of like, oh, so you say the F word today 4 times on your Snapchat.
Yeah,
and guess what? You won the Supreme Court case.
Good job, honey.
It's just a word.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that like at 16, you're obviously gonna make mistakes, and you're probably gonna say something stupid on the internet. And so I think it kind of makes sense that the court sided with her because she's just a teen, you know? Like, how could she get in that much trouble for saying something like that online when she wasn't threatening anyone, it wasn't hate speech, it wasn't anything crazy, she's just saying F cheer, basically. And, you know, kids will make mistakes. I don't know.
I mean, so the ramification here was that she was suspended for a year? That was the whole...
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, she said F cheer, so maybe take a year break. I don't know. It seems kind of fair, though, at the same time, right? Maybe it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think the ramification of this case is like, will school be able to discipline a student on, a thing that they say technically off campus, but online, which is kind of interesting. All right. Do we have any more things to say, or should we move on to the next topic? All right, let's move on. This is my own plug. I spend a lot of time parenting, just like you with Richard. But yeah, this is my daughter. For audio listener, this is kind of like a snapshot that David, my husband, also the CEO of this company, took during a Tuesday meeting when Nora, my daughter, basically would not leave my side while I'm like discussing action items with the marketing team about what to do. So yeah, and like it prompted me to think about the reality of what it's like to parent and work from home during a pandemic. And I just feel lucky and extremely privileged to have the help of all of the women who, without them, basically I would not be able to do that. And then I also dove into the details of actually we are the minority because most people cannot afford to even work from home while parent a child because they don't have the support system, or their employers don't allow them to work from home, hence they lose their job. And then most of the people actually who lose their job during the pandemic, and I put in some stats here for people who want to learn more, are women. I just thought that it reveals something really fundamentally flawed about the structure of our society, that when like shit hit the fan, so to speak, the most vulnerable people that suffer are the women and the people we actually need the most in order to make like this society goes round. So that's my 2 cents. What's your reality of pandemic parenting / working from home, Richard?
Well, it's a lot of learning to ignore loud noises sometimes and hiding and finding things. It's nice to have a laptop instead of a desktop. That's for one thing. But it started off the kids were kind of like out of school pretty soon. So I felt like it was easier in the beginning for some reason or another. But then when the next school season, semester started up, it definitely got a lot more difficult. There was a lot of, a lot of needing help to interact with like the computer and like kind of get the instructions going. So it was constantly like something like stopping what I was doing to go like suss things out there, because we have with a younger kid around. he's a lot harder to teach than Alyssa, I'll say that. So, but yeah, it's
Wait, he was learning from a computer?
yeah, we had like a ABC Mouse as a program like that where your kids can kind of have like a guided, educational program. It's kind of like in the like a game or something like that. So it makes it a little bit more fun. But yeah, just like keeping him like on task with that, trying to keep him, not just playing games, but also learning, it takes a lot of work. So thankfully my wife, she's been like a, stay-at-home mom, homemaker, since before all this started. So she was kind of already in that same role. So she added teacher to it. So my wife kind of handled most of the education, but I just pop in there once in a while and kind of keep them going through classes.
Oh, wait. Okay, I have some questions about this. Because I think I'm so removed from school now, of any sort, that I just have no idea what's going on anymore. So, wait, they are taking their lessons via Zoom then and using like a specific computer to do their lessons, or how are they doing school still?
Yeah, in my case, we signed up for what was called the virtual academy. So it wasn't even like the school just decided to go online. They already had this program set up where kids could, from outside of the district, could actually be participating in like this. Our school district is pretty renowned, I guess, for having a good program here. So they opened it up to more people online. So they were kind of already prepared with that. But really, you're only like checking in once a week or so, or like each class once a week. But otherwise, you're pretty much on your own and doing video. So they'll show you a video of the content, and then you answer questions immediately, and just keep going back and forth between learning a little bit, testing your comprehension of it. Yeah. And then just videos are pretty rare because when you have like that many kids on a Zoom call, it's just pretty much chaos. It's not a whole lot of learning going on. So it's more like a fun social thing. Just make sure you're socializing. Make sure you're sharing ideas on the book you're reading or something like that. So not too many meetings.
Okay. How long did they have to learn from home?
Oh, well, so we're just doing this 1 year. They're going back. Thankfully, we're sending them all back into class. So it'll be a bit quieter here next semester. Looking forward to that. But we try to pace it as like a school day. Like they kind of give you like a speed to kind of operate on. Like every day you should be at this point. This percentage of your class should be done. So it's like if they do it faster, then kudos to her. She can go outside and play for longer. So it wasn't like a set hour thing, and she could do it whenever she wanted to. So it was kind of cool, more flexible for her, which is nice.
And then
how do you think that this is going to affect your kids' overall education?
That's a good question. I feel like it's actually helping because at least in the case of the virtual academy, they offered courses that the in-class teachers wouldn't have been able to cover. Like my daughter picked up like a Scratch programming thing. She was already making little interactive games with sounds and her artwork. You can click on it to keep score, or like when you put a ball in a basket or something like that. It was pretty cool. So she got to do that and like typing. I feel like she's going to get like a leg up on some areas that she's interested in. Like she already has like electives. Like we didn't have that in elementary school. So like, I think it's just going to help her. And then she gets to go on her own pace. If she's bored and getting antsy, we'll just get up and do it later.
Yeah. What about your younger one? Because I think it depends on the age, right? Like imagine, I think a lot of kids who graduated last year had a really hard time with it. So yeah, what about your younger one?
Yeah, he's definitely a lot harder too, man. He's just way more energetic, and he wants to just like do more physical play than sit still and learn stuff. So we didn't actually push him too hard because technically he's still like preschool, really.
Okay.
So he didn't have to. Like it wasn't required. We just anything he learned was just icing on top.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, that's good.
I can't imagine having Nora for 4 hours or maybe 2 or 3 hours online, via Zoom. We have one example of her doing ballet via Zoom online. And if you know her, she's like the most enthusiastic ballerina there is. Like she loves everything that's got to do with ballet. We put her on one distant ballet class and she froze. She just did not understand any of the like multiple screens that are going on. And when like teachers just like pointed in a direction, she was just so confused. Like she's like, wait, are these people like was this pre-recorded? Like, are these people talking to me, or are they talking to each other? Is it a movie? Is it a like tutorial? So I think like in her little brain, she could not understand like synchronized communication online. And yeah, I don't know, like props to Cassie, your wife, to like be able to maybe explain it somehow to your young one, but like I have a hard time, and maybe like because I'm not like a stay-at-home, like full-time stay-at-home mom, and like I can't really also add teacher to my role. So luckily for us, we still afford to send Nora to school, starting September of last year, and like actual daycare school, like she has to wear masks, like social distance and everything. But thank goodness, because I can't imagine a 4-year-old being online while not having an actual parent or like guide right next to them to like explain what's going on.
Yeah. I think the socialization at a young age is really important too, isn't it?
Oh yeah. And that, like just like being like physical with things, like touching, toys, and being in nature, like going for hikes and stuff like that. I feel like that's super important at a young age, because they're so literal, like that's how they learn, is like they starting from seeing things and smelling things and observing things, and then that's how they like conceptualize things later on.
Right, just gotta expose them to as many
I can't
things
believe your
as possible.
8-year-old daughter is programming. It's blowing my mind.
Well, yeah. So one thing though, whenever I try to like get her to like see what I'm doing, like make a game with me, it's always with like text, right? You're typing on a keyboard and words out, and that was like scary to her, like just a wall of jumbled up characters and what, right? It doesn't even look like a book. There's no pictures. But in her case, she was doing Scratch, which is visual. You take blocks and you can like put these pieces together, and they have little areas where you can shim things in here to mean something. So you're doing. It still has the same structure, but you don't have to like mistype something or sit there and find each little letter. So you're dragging things around. So that helps.
We should learn some from.
I saw on TV the other day, it just came up. It was a Polly Pocket show, which was popular when I was a kid. But in the TV show, she used this little device to scan a roller coaster, and then she made a 3D printed version of it. And I was like, what? What is this? This children's show? Like, what is this high-tech kids show? Oh my gosh, it was weird.
That's awesome.
I mean, kids these days, I was chatting with Akasha, our slogging manager, the other day, who also has 2 kids. One is 13 and the other is 9. Like, we were just equally mind blown and admiring kids these days, not to like age ourselves or anything, but I think it's because of the breakdown of the traditional family structure of like everybody like hang out, and like we just like a single unit now, and like kids have to socialize, like you mentioned, somehow, right? So like the way they socialize is like online or like via some kind of like building techie stuff, which to us parents sound absolutely amazing, but like that's how kids have to communicate these days. And I think
that's how they understand it. Like they get it. The fact that a kid can like understand the kids can understand the concept of 3D printing. It's like, what? This technology is only like 5 years old. What?
Yeah, or like they can like jump cut TikTok, or like they go to their iPad or iPhone or whatever from their parents and be like, this is totally intuitive. Like, whereas like my mother-in-law look at it and be like, what is this thing?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on to our next story, also on HackerNoon, and also pretty related to what we've been talking about. It's a republishing story from the Markdown called "Already Struggling with School, the Pandemic Made It Worse." The premise is pretty similar, which is similar to the previous story, I meant, which is if you are a student of, let's say, a minority background, if you like a lower socioeconomic status, or if you just in general struggling with school for various reasons, the pandemic and the online learning environment makes it so that you stay even further behind. And the story kind of dives into some specific kind of snapshots, as well as like some stats, which makes my parent and my previous teacher heart really sad, because this is the reality of, I mean, a lot of students, like, I don't think the world has gone back to normal yet in many parts of the world. And like a lot of students still have to struggle with this on the daily basis. So yeah, like when you mentioned kind of like how your older daughter, which is so good and so attuned to learning like programming and such, I was thinking that's because like she probably knows what a computer looks like from an early age, right? Like it's like she's seen you computing. So
Right.
so like imagine like if someone's kid who like, their daily kind of routine is not to see someone on the computer or like doing things online, like how they're gonna react to this kind of learning environment.
Yeah. I don't know.
Kids with
tricky.
non-technical parents.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
going
wow.
back to like the idea that I'm thinking about right now is just how she got to choose programming. It was something that obviously like she was exposed to here at home, and something I kind of pushed her towards because at least I'd be able to help her with it. So it makes sense that she gravitated towards it. I just wonder about like, does everybody have the opportunity to learn what they're interested in? I'm just thinking about like motivation, like what it takes to really care about your education.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah.
Well, I mean, that's electives, right? Like, I didn't want to learn social studies, but I had to.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just an interesting idea to me. Like in general, just like figuring out how to find what fires you up to do things in life. I think that's pretty much the missing link.
People have different learning styles, right? Like in general, not just high school students or students, but people have different learning styles. And if your learning style is not compatible with online classes, it must be really difficult to keep up.
Or like the simple fact that like you never owned a computer in your life,
Yeah.
If you like a middle school student, like your parents work, let's say a 9-to-5 job somewhere, maybe at a grocery store or like what have you, you never had to actually like look at to a desktop, so like in the story it mentioned giving 40,000 laptops to a family for the first time, and like this kind of like poorer district, because otherwise like these students will not be able to simply just go online, and have access to the online learning environment. So like you add that with having to catch up, because you already like the leg up is not there. You already have to learn how to like operate and learn how to use this new thing that you've never used before. Then no wonder you like fall behind, because it's just that's just equity 101, is there's lack of equity. I had this exact sentence in my story. It's like the pandemic didn't start I didn't mention educational disparities. I just mentioned like inequality in general, but the pandemic didn't start educational disparities, but it has made them worse. I think it just,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something wasn't even thinking about at first. That it's kind of a non-starter if you don't have you're not comfortable with technology or access to a computer to even do the online classes, right? So, yeah. So what's the solution here? What's the next step? Just more funding for education? How do you...
I mean, the story didn't mention like an actual solution. Like my story also didn't mention a solution. I just mentioned that I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think society just has to solve for like actual root cause problems, right? Like we can't really wait and afford until the pandemic or something of similar catastrophic kind of impact to like care about equality and care about the lack of access and care about like maternity and paternity leave for parents, for example. Like it has to come. Like the saying I always like is the moment you think you need a plunger, right? It's already too late. Right?
Yes.
So like you should get a plunger before you need a plunger. So this is kind of like the same thing with like solving for like structural kind of like inequality problem in society. Like you need to do that in like quote unquote good times, because like when bad times come, you know, these things will just one thing after another will just fall down.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. Yeah, it definitely helps to be proactive, right? To just think of these things before you come up to them instead of reactive, right? They always say you want to do this. I'm just wondering, like, going back to like motivation to be interested in all these classes, to even if you were in this situation, it seems like a lot of kids just don't care about what they're learning. So even if they were in person, like before this happened, there's just this huge shortage of like kids in poorer areas, in inner cities and whatnot, that just aren't motivated to learn. So that to me is kind of interesting thing, especially with the crossroads of like where jobs are going with like AI changes, like how a lot of things are being automated away. It's like, it's a whole nother angle coming into this where you have to find a way to do something you really love, so you're good at it, right?
Right.
In this world where you have like a dwindling supply of jobs because they're being automated as well.
I mean, this is like, we need absolutely good paying jobs for teachers, right? Because like teachers are the ones that model them, the behaviors that will later on allow them to be more successful in society. And yet teachers are some of the worst paid jobs in this country, at least. Like where I'm from in Vietnam, teachers, doctors, lawyers, basically same level. Like unheard of in North America, I feel like, is teachers and lawyers and doctors same level. Like they all call like the same word for sensei in Japanese, because they're just so highly regarded. And I think, like we just need motivated students, but also we need motivated teachers to tell them that it's fun and it's great to be motivated.
Right. Well, I think the pandemic has really helped to put the emphasis on how important teachers are to society. I think that's really a North American culture thing as well. But like the fact that all of these parents have had to take care of their kids while they are working. Now they're realizing how much effort teachers are putting into taking care of their kids. Absolutely. So more people are like, oh yeah, teachers really do deserve to get paid more. Ling, I have a question for you. Since you grew up in Vietnam, did you grow up in a really technical family?
Not at all.
Oh, okay. So then I guess, because for me, when I read the story, it's almost hard for me to even like wrap my mind around this, because I grew up in a really technical family. Like my dad is a graphic designer. My mom works in the office on a computer. So all my life I've been exposed to technology. So what was it like for you to grow up and learn, I guess, in like a non-technical environment?
You know, I think it goes back to the idea that we value education, and because the society like highly regards teachers and just education as a whole, that even though my family is like this family of artists and like musicians, we never ever undervalue education. If anything, we overvalue education and the importance of like having an actual degree and having like the pedigree to like go on in life. I know that in North America, there's like this more movement now, like to get away from like pedigree and like the formality of getting, let's say, a college degree or what have you. But where I grew up, that's like the gold standard, right? Like you need to care about education to do anything in life. So that's part of it is my family, but a large part of it, it's just the societal kind of impact of valuing teachers and valuing education. And when like I married David, who's Jewish, we like had this like joke among themselves, like we get along so well as two families because the Jewish and the Vietnamese both value education. Like that makes total sense. So I
well,
think,
what was it like to learn how to use a computer?
I think when I was in ninth grade, like that's when I got like my dial-up and an internet thingy. And then when I eventually went to India, like I learned how to Skype and I learned how to like Facebook. Like that was like 2007. That was when like Facebook first started. And yeah, so using the computer wasn't like a part of my growing up, but it was
you adopted
provided.
it as it grew, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a millennial that I am.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess like imagine then coming into technology now, having not done any of that. I can see how that would be really overwhelming.
Yeah.
But I also like adapted as I went and
Yeah.
as it grew. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you only do it via mobile and not like actually like via Zoom, whatever setting, like if you just like used to scrolling or iPadding or like, texting on iPhone, then that's like different than like what we're doing right now between each other is like an actual conversation back and forth in Zoom, right? So that's slightly different. All right, let's move on to our last and my most favorite story today, which is the reason why we have Richard in the first place here, is titled Markdown for What? HackerNoon text editor now supports Markdown. Woo-hoo.
No, you have to read it like Markdown for what?
Oh, okay.
Markdown for what? Yeah.
Markdown for what? Okay, Alex, please put that. Wait, do we have a copyright for that? No, we probably don't. Markdown for what?
Bleep.
Bleep.
We have to pay for the 3-second sample. I've taken really to the Little John meme here. That's featured at the bottom of the article. Fully embraced that.
For our audio listener, the feature image is about 100 tiny mini Little John
faces.
Yes. Yeah, Kian's got to watch out. There's like a website that'll like pixelize stuff too. This feature here. So, anyways, we got another editor. We heard from Lamarck, and lead editor and SEO master on our team, that there are people that are unable to edit stories on mobile devices. And so that started a whole conversation about how are we going to accomplish this right now. And we had an old editor that we hadn't upgraded for a long time. So it was going to be a little bit hard because it's something I've been working on for like, a couple months on and off to upgrade. We just decided we might want to just try a new editor that just supports Markdown out of the gate and just start fresh. And that's why we were able to deploy this yesterday. So
let me, for our video watcher, actually go to, oops, that's not how we do it. Let's go to the start writing button because I really want to show how funny this meme is.
I'm very proud of this sliding image.
So
I didn't pick the memes.
audio,
Again,
sorry.
Very good.
Can you describe for our audio listeners what
It's
the
that
meme?
meme with the guy who looks over his shoulder and the girl's like, what the fuck? And it's editor 3.0 versus editor 2.0 and Markdown support walking by.
Woman in the red dress.
Yep, pretty much. So what's your most favorite feature in this Markdown support text editor?
I mean, the fact that it is text as the your schema here is just a simple string. Definitely simplifies things and opens up to a lot of possibilities that would be more complicated with the old schema, which is using JavaScript objects. So like to me, just having plain text that you can edit in like, I don't know, like Windows Notepad or something like that, and then have it turn into something pretty, like formatted HTML is just a very powerful feature. So that's got to be the coolest thing about this, that it's just text. Like if it, like following, like in the Linux world, like everything's just like files and you pipe stuff, like different programs are piping information around. It's all just plain text, and it just makes things so simple just to have that kind of lingua franca go back to just plain old simple text. To me, that is huge. I don't know how much more.
Yeah.
I can say that more, but
No,
It
this
does
is
other cool
awesome.
stuff.
So for example, you wanna like, and I mean, this may sound absolutely obvious, and like, why the fuck do you explain this to our programmers audience? But like, I wanna explain it to the non-tech audience, which we do have, which is like, if you like, do something like a double hashtag, for example, it becomes like an H1 header, and like if you do a bracket and then a text, and then close that bracket, and then do another of those rounded bracket,
Parentheses, yeah.
parentheses, then it becomes like a highlighted link. I mean, that's pretty awesome. And I only know about this because we've been using community.hackernoon.com, which is discourse, which support Markdown, but I feel like a lot of people don't know. And this would be like a great way for people to be educated on like how to simply use text and syntax to create like funny and fun pop things on the screen.
Yeah, I suppose there's some crossover opportunity there for educating folks. Like people that are used to just clicking on the buttons or highlighting and seeing a pop-up and hitting the bold button or whatnot, you can still do that. But yeah, this lets you know like all the nice little shortcuts to do it maybe faster, and maybe you'll end up using it elsewhere. Because I know it's like pretty much used everywhere, right? Like you said, like Discourse has, or Discuss, Slack has support for Markdown messages. It's everywhere.
And doesn't this make it easier for like Google Doc users or what have you to just like copy paste? Is that
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you can use any editor you want now, if you're used to Markdown, you can just copy that, plop it into our editor, and you'll see it'll reformat everything into images or links or whatnot.
cool?
So yeah, definitely.
Richard, what are you the most proud of with this release?
Oh, it's just got to be that button there. That's number one. That's my crowning achievement in life, is that sliding on hover, because I do not know CSS very well, so that was huge. I'm pretty happy that we got it out in a fairly timely manner. Like the other path took a long time. There's still like bugs with supporting embeds, which is a current like limitation here. Yeah. But I'm proud that we were able to get this out the door.
I'm gonna try in real time how to link.
How many people worked on this?
I mean, I implemented the editor and all that, so that was
just you.
But the memes, that came from Mark and David, and that's really where this thing shines. So
this is actually based on outline, right? Like, if you talk a little bit about outline.
Maybe their README's like, if you're gonna make derivative work with this, you don't have permission to use it actually, or something like, unless we tell you. I think that's more like if you're making a product, like a commercial product, and selling it. But it is, it's an open source project that you can use for commercial use. But we're not like selling an editor either, so I don't know. Yeah. I don't think it matters. But I'm actually not too familiar with their product, but it looked very similar to Notion. It's like for tracking your information and having a knowledge database. So
my favorite thing about Notion, like, is the call out button. Like it just makes it very poppy. So I'm so happy that this one comes with that. But yeah, like I asked about outline because like I think this opens up our future, right? To just like adding more text editors. The old one, the editor 2.0, we built with Slate.js, and this one with outline. So maybe we can just like keep adding on Cruella and whichever, what have you. And they just provide more opportunity for our writers to have a smoother writing experience, like depending on what their interests are. Like that's my hope.
Yeah, I mean, from a dev perspective, it's nice that we have this example here now of an editor that stands on its own. So it is easier to try out new things. Like the big hang up before was the migration path was pretty much non-existent. It wasn't laid out for you, at least. Like nobody knew how to migrate from the old version to the new one. So being able to just like create a new editor on its own and be able to work on it and demonstrate that it works. If we want to do that again, we definitely have a prior art now to do that. So that's cool.
Awesome. And look, just for our video watchers, this is like what the call out button looks like. Very similar to the Notion functionality. And we have caption for images now, which is like, it's like, So many people like ask for this like simple kind of functionality.
Right.
And then this,
Attribution of like
right.
if you take a stock photo or whatnot, you can say where it comes from.
Yeah, and just kind of like if you can't really see or like if the image is broken for whatever reason, right? Like that would serve as like alternative text.
Right.
That
Yeah, so that caption does go into the HTML as that for like readers or search engines too and all that. So yeah, definitely improvement there. We also have like tables, like people have asked for that too. I don't know, like I'm not sure when we're going to see that, but you can like, if you're typing in the editor now, the slash command, if you just type slash, kind of like in Slack, you see this pop up.
Oh my goodness.
You can make a table now, add rows. So that's kind of fun. So people like, yeah.
All right,
Data
for audio
sciencey type
listener,
stuff.
I like just slash.
Yeah, Link's just playing with that Markdown editor now. Podcast is
Tables
over.
are fun again.
Sorry, I have this irrational love for table because I love to eat. And I just thought it's so helpful all the time to have like things in rows and columns.
Absolutely. Who doesn't love tables and tables of data?
Yeah. Well, all right. So I think that's just like a snapshot of what the Markdown editor could do. And maybe if you are a user of the HackerNoon editor, please give it a shot. It's like now live. So you just go straight to start writing or like start new draft. You should be able to use the new editor, right? Like,
yeah, if you have a new draft already started, you might have to like save it, give it like a title and save it. And the next time you click new draft, you'll actually have a choice. So it'll like kind of hold on to your previous started draft if you had one. So just a heads up.
Cool. Now let's conclude this podcast with my favorite two questions because full disclosure, I was born in July, so July has always been my favorite and it always makes me think about fun things. So my two questions are, what is the current temperature where you guys at? And then my other question is, since it's July, it's the start of summer, do you have any fun summer plan? Or anything later that you would like to share? Amy, why don't you go first?
Okay. Wow, Vancouver has just come off of its massive heat wave. On the weekend, I was sweltering in 43-degree heat that felt like 50.
Celsius.
Wait, oh my gosh, Celsius. Okay, let me translate this to the American listeners. So I think that I was in feels like 122 degrees Fahrenheit weather, and it was like not okay. I was dying. But now we have come down in temperature-wise, so we're sitting at a nice 21 degrees Celsius, which is, let's see, that would be, I don't know.
75, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, 70.
All right, cool.
Oh, not bad.
That's terrible.
And as for my summer plans, in 2 weeks, I am dog sitting for a friend. So maybe we might have some dog cameos on the podcast, might be, guys. But I will be dog sitting for a week in 2 weeks, and I am super excited.
Aw, that's so cute. For how long? For how long are you going to be
For
dog?
just 1 week.
Oh, for 1 week.
There's
Cool.
2 dogs, though.
Hopefully,
Amazing.
it won't be sweltering because dogs do suffer from heat
Yes.
wave as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
What about you, Richard?
Well, it's 78 over here. It's been raining like crazy. We have a major highway like in Detroit or Michigan near where I live, completely flooded, like almost up to like the overpass. Like so on ramps were looking like boat launches. There's some really cool drone footage videos of people flying down these highways with like, it's like a post-apocalyptic, like cars just scattered all over in the water. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, lots of rain and thunder lately. But
Grease lightning.
yes. Plans though, I think we're going camping. We're gonna go up North Michigan where it's colder. I think. I don't know. Apparently, if Canada's getting super hot, I'm not sure if going north actually means anything anymore as far as escaping heat.
No.
It doesn't.
But just going camping and stuff with the family. My wife and I are celebrating our 10th anniversary, so we have a trip on a cruise planned. Never done that before, so that'll be fun. I'm guessing that'll be sweltering too. We planned it so that it's like in like the most intense heat.
Where's the cruise?
It's going in the Caribbean, so we're gonna be like in the Grand Caymans and some of the.
Are the kids coming?
No, absolutely not.
Yes.
we have another cruise planned next year. It's the Disney one, so that's we're doing all our cruise stuff there. They'll get their chance to enjoy. This one's just for us.
And Lang?
Oh yeah, like when you talk about the 43 degrees the other day in Vancouver, I was researching heat wave in North America, and oh my goodness, this is the hottest summer it has ever been, hottest and driest it has ever been in North America by a long shot. And I experienced it in Colorado, like about 10 days ago. It was at 100, approaching 100 in Colorado, which is unheard of in this time of the summer. Like it's what, like mid-June when that happened. So that freaked us out like quite a bit because, global warming.
That's not even summer, right?
Yeah.
Mid-June, it's like you're still holding on to spring.
And the funny thing here too is that we've been talking about how like, the pandemic closed down so many businesses and restaurants, and now like everything is finally opened up again, but no one's going outside because no one can leave their house in their aircon, so the restaurants are empty again.
The restaurants, I feel so bad for them. But finally, so after that like heat wave, it rained 3 days straight, and that was such a godsend because we had like this wildfires in Sylvan Lake, which is like our national state park, and then we also have the fires from Arizona that like just sent smoke straight downstream. So it's amazing. Like Mother Nature, thank you for doing that. As for vacation plans / just plans in general, we're going to LA in August for the entire month of August.
Wow.
Me, Nora. So very excited for that. It's going to be a lot of Asian food because LA has the biggest Vietnamese population, but also just kind of like like a melting pot, just like America.
I didn't know that actually.
More intense. Oh yeah, they have like Korean population and just all kinds of Asian and all.
I knew it was really multicultural. I didn't know it had a large Vietnamese population though.
Yes, it does. So I told David, and he agreed, that we exclusively gonna eat Asian and specifically Korean and Vietnamese food when we're in LA. So I'm very excited.
Wait, sidebar, what's your favorite Vietnamese food dish?
Favorite Vietnamese food? So this is something that people don't know, and I don't realize that Richard doesn't even know what Vietnamese food is. So like,
well, Richard just went to a place called Thai Pho, so which is culturally incorrect, by the way.
Let's keep it at Asian fusion level.
Okay, yeah, it's Asian fusion.
Modern Asian fusion. Also, he lives in Michigan, so he's in okay. But my actual favorite Vietnamese food is this shrimp paste tofu thing called bún đậu mắm tôm. And I actually put that in our kind of like bio in our help section as like my food meal before I die.
Okay.
Which is like shrimp paste with tofu with noodles and assorted size mini desserts because
because
that's not Vietnamese, that's just because.
Oh, my last meal before I die is a corn dog from Disneyland.
Perfect. Oh. Sounds very comforting. And what was yours again, Richard?
Mine. It's something ridiculous. I wanted like brisket from a very specific smokehouse that's by a small creek in my town, in the boonies.
Okay.
So yeah, beef brisket sandwich.
That's definitely more ridiculous than a corn dog.
And
I'll take a corn dog. That sounds good. Sign me up. Never been to Disneyland, so.
Cool. I think we should sum this up and go eat some because it makes us hungry. But yeah, this has been This Week on Planet Internet with me, Linh Dao Smooke, Amy Tom, our podcast host, Richard Kubina, our de facto VP of Engineering at HackerNoon, and it was edited by Alex Kopp. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.